Okay, well, by 2002, you actually get transferred to Texas, and you start working against the Zetas cartel.
Yes, that was more as a case agent, though. I was
Okay.
on that down on the border. I was running the operations as a case agent and working against the cartel. But yeah, absolutely. I mean, I was on the border for 6.5 years.
Right. And when you talk about the cartel, kidnappings, torture, electrocution, beatings, burns, like that's regular in their world.
Yeah, it was when I was down there. Yes. Cartel at that point in time, Osiel Cardenas was the head of the Gulf Cartel, and if you're working the border, I was on SWAT. Provided, or I should say, I led the tactical and firearms instruction for McAllen, Texas office and the Brownsville, Texas office, and so you have like working groups with Mexican military, Mexican government, because even if we know we may have cases on some of them because they're dirty, but we still need to have some kind of open line of communication. So we actually have a position in the FBI down there that's called the Border Liaison Officer. So that's what you're doing. So if we get a kidnapping, let's just say it's you, and say your family calls into the FBI, and I take the call, or it comes to my squad, and they're like, "Hey, Vlad's been kidnapped. We know that he was taken, and now they're calling us, and they want $200,000." Back then, I would be like, look, I need you to be honest with me, because I'm not trying to build a drug case, but I need to know, is this about drugs? And if you lie to me, I'm probably going to hang up the phone, because we do this weekly here. And they'll deny it at first, but then we get to brass tacks and say, look, I'm trying to recover your son. I'm trying to help you get him back. This is not a drug case. This is a extortion kidnapping case. And then we start working it. And the border liaison would reach out, and we'd say something like, hey, typical MO would be like, okay, it was at 1 p.m. on the corner of such and such street. There was like 3 Suburbans that pulled up. A bunch of dudes jumped out with BDUs, maybe some balaclavas covering their face. They took them at gunpoint. Now they got them in Mexico, and they're beating them and torturing them. And they're calling the family saying, for whatever reason, you may have lost dope, you may have stolen. So if you stole, they're probably gonna kill you anyway. But they're saying, let's just say in this case, they want 200 grand. So now I'm sitting with your parents or your family, and I've got recorders, and we're trying to do everything, but they're only using your phone. So we know we've only got the battery, because they don't recharge your phone. They're using your phone to make all the calls, so we know we got the battery life of your phone, and that's it. And they say they want 200 grand. Go to the family. We don't have 200 grand. Well, they want 100 grand. They don't have 100 grand. What do you got? We can come up with $60,000. They got 60. What else they got? They got because I was there from 2001 to 2008. Let's say they got a 2006 Chevy Tahoe V8 4x4 with only this many miles on it. And then at midnight, here we are rolling the $60,000 and the Tahoe across the bridge, and then here comes you.
So you actually
brokered the deal.
You actually broker these extortion deals.
Yeah.
So the FBI gets involved in actually doing the trade, the money for the hostage.
Yeah, and under Osiel Cardenas, as violent as the cartel was, at least there was kind of a, SOP. There was some kind of rules, and back then, at least in my experiences, they didn't want us shutting down the border. So if they're torturing you and we make the call and the border liaison reaches out to the consulate reaches out, or a commandante we know, they'll be on the phone and be like, hey, this is what we got, like the report I gave you, 3 Suburbans, all this. 30 minutes to an hour, they've called back, border liaison officers calling us saying, yep, it's the cartel. The Zetas at that time were the enforcement arm of the cartel, paramilitary trained, and they're the ones that did the kidnapping and beating and torturing and collected the quotas. So it didn't matter if you were smuggling drugs or humans through that territory, you still had to pay a quota.
And how often would these things fall apart where the hostage would get killed?
In my experience, we had a pretty good success rate. But to what I learned is once Osiel got taken out, arrested by Department of Justice, basically, that opened up a vacuum. And then everybody starts competing for that leadership or the territory of the Gulf. And now the Zetas are saying, this is post after I left, But then the Zetas are saying, wait a minute, we're the ones that do all the hard work. We should be running this. Maybe the Mexican military says, no, we should be running it. Sinaloa cartel comes in and says, no, we're taking over. MS-13 comes in, and it's just a bloody war. I mean, it was very common just to, if you're in the wrong place at the wrong time and you look like you got money and they don't recognize you, they think you were the other side, you find a van with eight heads in it. No bodies, just 8 heads.
8 heads.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Very common. But one of the cases before I left, it was 3, I don't say kids, but it maybe like 19-year-old, 20, 21, and they were just mules, but they were in way over their head. They would drive the car from McAllen to Dallas while they were being followed by the cartel. They get to a mall up there, kids stay at the mall, cartel takes the car over to the shop, they open up the clavo, which is the hidden compartment, they remove the dope, fill it with money, seal it back up, give the car back to the kids. Kids drive back from Dallas to McAllen being followed by the cartel, just mules. Well, the car showed up and the cartel found out that they were missing well over $100,000. And those 3 kids got kidnapped. And now we're working that one. Well, as we're trying to investigate it and figure out what's going on, calls start coming to the cartel. The 2 guys that received the vehicle from the mules that worked for the cartel, one was a young, newer, upcoming guy, and the other one was an old guy. And what they found out is that because the old guy started blowing money, all of a sudden he's buying a new house, he's buying cars, and they grabbed the young kid first, and he confessed. He said, look, he took the money, he wanted me to take part in it. I said, absolutely not. I'm not betraying you guys. So they let that guy live. The last I heard, the last reports we got is that they were cooking the old guy. His nickname was El Aguila, the Eagle. He was in a 55. It was either diesel fuel or acid, but a 55-gallon drum, and either his fingers or his entire hands had already been chopped off, and he was being tortured, and they cooked him. They make him human soup, El Guiso.
That's a thing, human soup.
It was then.
And they would eat it?
No, they just turn him and they just liquefy you.
Okay.
Turn you into soup, yeah.